Before we even get started, I want to create a quick glossary of YouTube safe terms: orgasm, flower, and corn. Those are the three words that I want you to keep in your mind as I navigate through this video. Okay? I talked to 25 women, and out of those 25 women, only 4 of those women could actually say that they've experienced an orgasm. And that shocks me. And when interviewing these women and asking them about their experiences, a lot of the things that I heard was intimate experiences was not geared towards their pleasure. Their intimate experiences weren't geared towards their pleasure. And I even interviewed some women that were married. And the conversations that we had was that their intimate experiences were focused a lot more on their husband or their partner or their boyfriend and them getting their final hurrah, and never really putting the time into understanding what she needed to get her experience off as equal as he was able to get his. And I think that's the root of the problem, is that we don't always teach. I don't know who teaches men or the male species to understand their female partner's body, to understand what turns them on, and that every woman is not the same. What Lady A liked might not be the same thing that Lady B liked. And Lady B might not have ever even explored herself to know what she likes compared to Lady A, who might have done a lot of exploration. So now, this gentleman gets to know Lady A and is like, oh my gosh, this is a standard of women. And then meets Lady B, and Lady B has had not even close to the, self experiences to understand herself that Lady A has had, but the man is treating Lady B exactly like Lady A. Did that make sense? Did you follow me? And so I find that a lot of times the men don't put the time and the effort into really understanding their partner's bodies. They come in with ego. They come in with, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm good at. And this is how I'm going to do this, right? They come in with this egocentric idea of how this intimate act should go. Do they fully understand the woman that they are laying with? And I think that was the most shocking thing that I found when talking to the 25 women, is that their partners very rarely sat there and asked them, what is it that you like? What turns you on? Their partners went at the intimacy with the idea of, oh, she's going to love this. Women fake experiences just to finish the intimate act. And women, stop doing that. If you are not pleased, and if you are not feeling good, if you are not mentally there, tell that man. And I know there's also this subconscious fear of not wanting to disappoint a man, or not wanting to, throw a wrench in this moment because we don't want to ruin his ego. And I don't understand where that comes from. Maybe that's something historically that we haven't gotten over yet. I mean, we're very new to exploring women, but we have to be honest about when we do or don't like something. And so another part of it is women being able to speak up. But I find that women don't speak up because they don't always explore themselves. They don't always get the opportunity to really understand what they like about their body, or what they like intimately about their body, what pleases them, what brings them pleasure. And they might have things that turn them on or might make them feel good, but do you know what is going to get you there? Are you confident that you know what is going to get you there? Do you know your flower? Do you know your flower? And so after having the conversation with the 25 women and understanding that a lot of them didn't have orgasms, and part of their lack of orgasms was that their male partner didn't really put the effort into understanding them, it's also that they didn't really learn themselves either. And I think there's a slight disconnect between how women develop intimately, actually, compared to how men do it, and the content that has been out there online to show men and women how this act should go. All these corn websites and the videos that are on these corn platforms were not geared to really help women understand how to understand themselves actually. And really, it put women at a space of just being submissive and receiving, and not really enjoying the experience. A lot of the times, I did a research paper back in college on corn and the different types of videos that were showcased and the lack of pleasure that women get, the lack of content that was geared towards female pleasure. And so if you're a young woman and you're trying to figure out what feels good, what you like, how to do something, and your go-to source is corn, then a lot of times you're seeing a lot of aggression. You're seeing, hard and fast and aggressive and choking and not really tender, caring, loving, beautiful, romantic moments. You're seeing what the male eye wanted to see in order to showcase what they think X should look like. And I think that's part of the problem. I think that there hasn't really been a platform to really show, hey, this is what this should look like. This is how this should go. This is a beautiful, healthy, actual experience. And this is how a man should treat you. This is how your person should treat you. This is how X should go for you. It doesn't have to be an insert of back to back, really aggressive, moments like that. To me, a young woman seeing X for the first time on a corn website and all she sees is, pounding and aggression. And now she's like, oh my gosh, like that looks like it hurts. And it probably does. And it's also not real because the person that she's watching is an actress. And so there's a lot of miseducation and a lack of education to really help women understand their flower. It's funny. I didn't really even look at my flower until like maybe 25, 24. And I had to sit down in front of a mirror and check that out so I could understand my flower. That's a part of my body. Just like everything else that I've seen tons of times, I should be just as familiar with my flower as everything else. And so I took the liberty upon myself to experience what the heck the flower was about, what the flower looked like, how the flower moved. It sounds crazy, but flowers do different things. Flowers have different textures, different shapes, different scents. Flowers have a variety of diversities within themselves. And I think that women should take the time to really explore their flower, or really at least see their flower, especially before somebody else sees it. You should know your flower from the inside out before somebody else gets to experience that for you and with you. And so, after talking to those 25 women and finding that not only did their partners lack the ability to understand how to please them, and that they also didn't, take the time to understand how to find pleasure within themselves, it got me thinking of how there's such a gap between virginity and the actual act. And the only true source of knowledge is whatever visual content is out there to consume, to give somebody a frame of reference as to what this should look like. And I think that women, girls 18 and up, or really, I don't even know the age. I mean, that's a different conversation within itself of when a young woman should start exploring herself. But I think as soon as puberty, you should kind of know what's going on down there. I think that's the start of it. But know what's going on down there for you. And then setting boundaries around when it is appropriate for somebody else to explore that with you. And in my opinion, I don't think that's appropriate until like 20 years old. I know that there are urges and I know that there are, feelings, and not to say that you can't explore yourself early. I just won't be the person to say, hey, you should explore it early. I'm going to be the person to say you should explore yourself before you're 20. And then at the age of 20, really be in tune with yourself to know how to explore that with another person. You should know your flower before you share your bouquet with somebody else. You hear me? It's funny. Quick story time. When I first used a tampon, I was in college and I had no idea how to put a tampon in. And I was all of maybe 20 at this time, maybe 19 at this time. I started college at 17, so I want to say I was maybe 19 at this time. And a young woman gave me a tampon and she was like, okay, just stick it up there. And I was like, wait, up where? And she was like, you just got to find the hole. You got to push it in, and then you push the other part in, and the thing is going to go up, and then you pull the plastic applicator out. And I was like, wait, but like, how do I pee? And she was like, what? Like I said, how do I pee if I have this thing like plugged up my flower? And she was like, they're two separate things. I was so confused because I didn't know that there were two separate parts. And, you think about sex education, in, high school, and what that VHS tape, at least in my era, was really consisting of, and the lack of true understanding of what that class should have given. So going into college, I was very underinformed. And so I had no idea that there is a urethra, an actual vaginal canal. I had zero idea up until putting that tampon in for the first time my sophomore year of college. And then it wasn't really until my 20s, like I said, 24, 25, when I really sat down in front of the mirror to understand what it looks like. And it's funny because I was in grad school, and I was asking my girlfriends, like, if they've ever looked at theirs, and they were like, yeah, like and we exchanged or showed each other photos of what our genitalia looked like. And then this realization came over me that there is no set standard of what your flower should look like. But prior to that experience of seeing other things, the only other flowers I had seen were flowers in corn websites. I think it was that time at 25 where I was really like, hey, listen, it's important to know yourself. And so I share with you and any viewer watching this, explore your flower. And when I say explore your flower, touch it. See what feels good. And don't be scared to do that. Smell it. Smell your flower. Know what your flower smells like. And that's even more important because if your flower starts to smell differently one day, now you can say, oh, okay, well, my garden might need some watering, or whatever whatever you want to say, or your garden might need some tending to. And so explore it. I have friends that have never even touched their clitoris, and having conversations with women who have shied away from understanding a part of their body that brings them so much pleasure was disheartening, because I'm like, oh my God, you're being intimate with other people, but you're not even allowing yourself the ultimate form of intimacy. And so I say to you, my dear girl, my dear lady friend, explore yourself. And you don't have to go crazy and jamming things. That's not what I'm saying. Be gentle with yourself, as everybody should. Be gentle with yourself. Explore yourself. And know what feels good so that you can communicate with your husband, with your boyfriend, with your partner, whether male or female, what actually brings you pleasure, so that you don't become in that bracket of women that I talk to that say, hey, I've never had an orgasm. And now all of a sudden you're 50 and you've never had a pleasurable, intimate experience. And we don't want that. You don't want that. You don't deserve that. If somebody is entering your temple, entering your garden, that's like my favorite Giveon song. If they're ever entering your garden, you can tell them, hey, this is how I like my garden to be tended to. This is what I like. And if that person can't tend to your garden and don't want to tend to your garden, how you want your garden to be tended to, honey, they don't need to be in your garden. They don't need to be in your garden. Okay? Learn your garden. Learn your flower. Understand what it likes. Understand what makes it feel good, what makes it blossom. Because that's important, and you deserve to know that. You got it. I believe in you. Take your time. Trust yourself. No rush. And be gentle with it. Also, depending on how you're exploring yourself, be careful with the nails. The nails might not always serve you for, your different parts on the inside. So be careful with that. There are toys. And so you could even find a starter experiential toy and see what feels good to you, so that you can tell your person, hey, this is what I like. I advise all ladies, all women, all girls coming of age into their womanhood to explore their flower. Okay? My name is Aubrey. Thank you for watching. Explore your flower. Protect your garden. And I'll see you on the next video.